Finland doesn't announce itself. It doesn't fill silence. It doesn't sell excitement. It doesn't need to. It simply exists. And in a world that is constantly noisy, filled with notifications, advertisements, conversations, and distractions, that makes Finland unusual. You can walk into a Finnish city, a small village, or a forest and feel it immediately. There is space, there is room, there is pause. In Finland, nothing demands your attention, and yet everything functions. Roads are clear, public transport is punctual, schools are orderly, services are reliable. Silence isn't absence here, it is presence, and it's everywhere. In the streets, in conversations, in the air itself. Part 1. Comfort with silence. In Finland, silence isn't awkward, it's neutral. Conversations don't need padding, pauses don't need explaining. You can sit next to someone in a bus or a sauna, or even across a meeting table, and silence simply is. No one feels pressure to fill it. No one assumes discomfort. Even in workplaces, silence is respected. A Finnish colleague will think carefully before speaking, and when they do, it will be precise. There is no need for small talk. There is no need to signal agreement unnecessarily. Words carry weight, and fewer words are valued more. And that absence of pressure changes everything. You notice it in the way people move. Walking through the streets, people do not shout. Cars do not honk unnecessarily. Children do not scream at playgrounds in a desperate attempt to be noticed. Nature is allowed to breathe. Life is allowed to unfold without artificial noise. It teaches a lesson that is subtle but profound. Life does not need constant stimulation to be meaningful. Silence is not emptiness. It is clarity. Even the architecture mirrors this philosophy. Finnish buildings, homes, offices, public spaces are often simple, minimalistic, and unadorned. Yet there is intention behind every line, every material, every design choice. Quietness is not a lack of thought. It is a deliberate focus on what matters. When you immerse yourself in this environment, you begin to notice how exhausting loudness is in other cultures. The constant effort to be heard, the pressure to signal presence, the assumption that noise equals life. All of it fades when you spend time in Finland. You start to realize that quiet can be comfortable, even liberating. Part 2. Happiness without performance. Finland is consistently ranked among the happiest countries on earth, but it doesn't look happy. Walk through a Finnish town and you won't see people smiling constantly or engaging in forced cheerfulness. You won't see loud celebrations or grand displays of emotion in daily life. Happiness here isn't performative. It doesn't need validation from others, because happiness in Finland is stability, predictability, enoughness. It is waking up in a clean, safe environment. It is knowing that public systems function reliably. It is the ability to trust your neighbors, your colleagues, and your government. It is the assurance that basic needs, food, shelter, education, healthcare, are met without negotiation or fear. Happiness here is quiet. It is the absence of stress, not the presence of exuberance. You notice it in subtle ways. The relaxed demeanor of bus drivers, the calm efficiency of shop clerks, the unhurried pace of people walking through parks. Even in moments that would be stressful elsewhere, like long queues or paperwork, the atmosphere remains patient, respectful, and composed. This approach to happiness challenges the assumption that joy must be loud to be real. In Finland, life is designed to function, to be predictable, and to provide a baseline of contentment. Emotional displays are optional, but security and stability are guaranteed, and that transforms how people interact. There is less envy, less competition, less pressure to perform for the approval of others. There is more focus on personal well-being, on family, on community, and on the simple pleasures that arise naturally when life is orderly and secure. Part 3. Quiet trust in systems. Finnish systems work quietly. Rules are followed without supervision. Processes function without praise. There is no obsession with optimization, just reliability. Competence is assumed, not advertised, and competence doesn't need attention. Public transport arrives on time. Schools maintain high standards. Hospitals provide care without bureaucracy that slows down service. Administrative processes are clear and straightforward. This quiet efficiency is everywhere. In libraries where silence is respected, in trains that glide without announcements at every stop, in offices where work gets done without fanfare. The difference is subtle but powerful. In many other countries, systems require constant monitoring, reinforcement, and oversight. Reports, audits, inspections. They exist to ensure reliability because it cannot be assumed. In Finland, it is assumed. And that assumption frees up mental space, time, and energy for individuals to focus on their lives rather than constantly managing the system around them. Trust extends beyond institutions to people themselves. Citizens obey traffic rules even when no one is watching. Neighbors respect boundaries without formal enforcement. Children are taught to be responsible and independent, and the education system supports that trust. This quiet trust is reinforced through cultural norms, education, and shared experience. It allows Finland to function efficiently without the visible machinery of control. The country doesn't need to announce its competence because it is embedded in the behavior of its citizens and institutions. Part 4. Why quiet is powerful here. In many places, loudness equals confidence. People speak over one another to assert authority. Systems advertise their efficiency. Success is measured by visibility and recognition. In Finland, confidence equals restraint. There is no urgency to prove anything. Achievements are acknowledged modestly. Systems perform their functions reliably without drawing attention to themselves. People accomplish tasks without needing applause. Because when systems work, they don't need to announce themselves. When rules are followed, when processes function, when trust is sustained, quietness is a sign of strength, not weakness. This philosophy extends to social interactions as well. Conversations do not need filler. Silence is acceptable. Respect is implicit. People do not interrupt to assert dominance. Collaboration happens without posturing. The power of quiet is in its consistency. It does not demand attention, but it delivers results. It does not advertise trustworthiness, but it is dependable. It does not require validation, but it provides stability and security. And that consistency reinforces a sense of control and calm. Life in Finland is not frantic. It is not chaotic. It is purposeful, intentional, and measured. Closing. Finland doesn't feel empty, it feels intentional. And once you adapt to the quiet, you realize something unexpected. Most places aren't noisy because they're alive. They're noisy because they're uncomfortable with silence. Finland feels different. Here, noise is optional. Life is not defined by spectacle. Happiness is not performed. Systems do not need to be announced. Trust is quiet but absolute. Presence does not require volume. In Finland, quiet is not absence. It is clarity. It is freedom. It is stability. And in that quiet, you discover something rare. The space to think. The space to breathe. The space to exist without constant external validation or distraction. Finland teaches that there is strength in restraint, depth in calm, and happiness in stability. It is in every sense a country that thrives quietly, consistently, and intentionally. And when you leave, the noise of the rest of the world feels heavier. You realize that perhaps loudness is often compensatory. Perhaps it covers discomfort. Perhaps it masks insecurity. Finland reminds you that the quietest places often function the best, not because they demand attention, but because they do not need to. Silence, it turns out, can be powerful, and in Finland, it is everywhere.